All right, hailing frequencies are open. Welcome to Session 2 of Star Trek Explorers and Original Series Era Star Trek Adventures campaign. I'm your Game Master, Fred. We're going to jump into the second session of the campaign. This one is called Technical Difficulties. I'm going to start out by having each of you introduce your characters and perhaps tell me a little bit about how your characters' values influence how they go about their daily business on the USS Venture. And we'll start at the top with Captain Harriman.
Hello, I'm Paul. I'm playing Captain Robert Harriman, who's the captain of the USS Venture. He's a new captain, just been assigned to the ship on its 5-year mission, but he's a very experienced officer. And he's definitely of that sort of breed that he just wants to go out there and find out what's out there, and the whole sort of Star Trek thing of meeting new races, new people, and exploring space. And in that sense, he likes quite a sort of firm hand at the helm. He likes to understand what's going on the ship, and he likes to be very decisive with his decisions.
And how has the first, I guess the Venture is now about 8 months into its 5-year mission. It's now beyond communication range of any Starfleet starbase or any kind of Federation facility. So how is he feeling and going about his day-to-day life on the Venture right now?
He's definitely feeling the pressure. He, although he is the captain on his previous ships, he's not been. So he's always had that sort of support mechanism of having a captain above him, and now he is at the top. So he's definitely feeling the pressure of that. And that really has kind of reinforced in him the fact that he needs to understand exactly what's going on board the ship, and he doesn't want to be caught by surprise.
Excellent. Thank you, Paul. Let's go to Miguel, and you can introduce your character, Dr. Ozil, and how he's been feeling so far on this 5-year mission.
Okay, Bayram Ozil is the Chief Medical Officer, Lieutenant Commander, and this is the first time he's not working in a Starfleet facility, so this is his first time on a ship. To be honest, going into brave new frontiers and all, and it's going to be dangerous, but there is also the value I put down. Danger is our mission, exploration and all that of Starfleet to discover the unknown, and well, we basically met what was apparently a fellow explorer last session, and just trying to open up some diplomatic talks, but getting a sort of ominous message about what might happen or may happen.
So since Dr. Ozil has never been a chief surgeon aboard a starship, how does he run his sick bay? And how does he feel about working in a rather cramped sick bay on a Starfleet vessel, on a Constitution-Class starship?
It is actually completely and utterly different. One thing is that the ship needs to be much more self-sufficient. You have like constant supplies coming in and all that, and like even the most distant Starfleet facility. So there's a sort of regular thing. So there's that sort of thing of being like, okay, I got to be very careful in how I ration stuff and use the supplies effectively. So there's that, but it's also along the lines of, as you said, it's cramped. This is like, oh my goodness, I don't have that much room to do anything, and I can't really get like a moment where I can just go outside. This is like, the sort of person that's locked in like the Antarctic thing and just hopefully doesn't snap and goes outside and disappears.
Yeah, boy, it sounds like maybe he's going a little stir crazy. I can relate to that nowadays.
Yes, I think everyone that's watching right now can.
Yeah. Let's switch gears to Yong, who's playing Commander Hando Han, who is the Chief of Security and Tactical aboard the Venture. How's he been feeling these first several months in deep space?
Well, he's been feeling like he's really enjoying the fact that he's out there and meeting new aliens. And the first mission that he was in, The fact that there was a need for him to jump into action, he really believes that going forward, there's going to be a lot of responsibility that's going to be placed on him. So, yeah, he's looking forward to that.
All right. Well, I think today's adventure should give him more opportunities to spring into action. The first session, like Miguel mentioned, the venture came into contact with this entity known as Searchlight, which seemed to have a similar mission to you guys, in that this entity was out in deep space trying to attain enlightenment and gain new knowledge, but did it in kind of a different way. Seemed to prefer solitude and contemplation to exploring the cosmos. Kind of a Roddenberryan first contact situation. Today's adventure will hopefully be a little bit more action-packed, more of an adventure story. But we will start in the cramped sickbay of the USS Venture with Dr. Ozil in his office, and he is talking to a member of the crew, a junior engineering officer named Lieutenant John Barley, who in the last session we learned made some kind of oversight in his maintenance in engineering, and that eventually resulted in some plasma fires igniting in engineering, killing the chief engineer and requiring you guys to go down to engineering and attempt a rescue operation for some people who are trapped in the facility. And so Barley it was discovered that Lieutenant Barley definitely has some responsibility for that accident, for that catastrophic accident. And so he is on leave. He's not on active duty, but because you guys are in deep space, there's really nowhere for him to go except for on the starship. And it was agreed during the last session that he would undergo some therapy with Dr. Ozil. And so that's where we're going to start this session, in sickbay with Lieutenant Barley. And he's kind of pacing around Dr. Ozil's private office in sickbay. And he is agitated. And he says, "Look, Doc, I every day I see the faces of my colleagues, and I can't help but think that they think I'm a failure, that they think I shouldn't be here. And honestly, I'm not sure I disagree with them. What should I do?"
I think just being able to air that is a good first step. I mean, have you actually tried talking with your colleagues to find out what they really think? Perhaps this is just a sort of way for you to just, what is the English term, project yourself onto that.
Boy, Doc, I don't even know if I can. I basically stay in my quarters as much as I can. And when I have to leave in the corridors or in different facilities, I just keep my head down.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to face them.
I see. Well then, the big thing is we're all on this ship. The ship is extremely cramped right now. Well, it's always going to be cramped, and you are going to be running into them. These are people you're working in at your area, so there hasn't been any attempts at small talk at all?
I mean, there's small talk, but and people are friendly enough. I think they're sympathetic, but I can't help but feel that underneath the surface, they're all thinking that I'm a failure.
We all actually get that. I mean, it's the sort of like feelings of, maybe it's a sort of a imposter syndrome, but it's also along the lines of us always having doubts about our own abilities, coming here, wondering if we are even up to the standards that we set ourselves to.
Well, Doc, I just got to ask you, do you think I can come back from this? Do you think I can be part of this crew again?
Well, one thing I learned, and especially as a sort of old adage, is, whenever we fall, the big thing to do is learn how to pick ourselves up. And that's why we fall, so we can learn from our failures. Because experience is the harshest teacher. She gives the test first, then the lesson afterwards.
Miguel, can you give me a presence plus command roll? And this will be a difficulty of 1. And I guess if you wanted to use medicine, you could use that instead.
No, that is fine. So I need to get under a 9. So I am going to go ahead and spin a threat to get 1.
Okay.
And let's see here. Oh, wow. I got a 1 and a 4.
Holy crap.
No focuses, so there's that.
But the 1 is a critical success, so that's 2 successes. And the other, so you got a total of 3 successes, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. So you generate 2 points of momentum. By the way, I should mention, I'm going to start the session with 6 points of threat, 2 for each of the player characters, and Miguel just paid me a 7th point of threat. But you generate 2 points of momentum on that roll. And that just represents your ability on a personal level to get through to Lieutenant Barley. And when you tell him that this is a challenge for him to learn from his mistakes, that seems to resonate. And he says, yeah, Doc, maybe you're right. Maybe this is just an opportunity for me to learn, for me to improve myself. And maybe I can figure this out and come back from this and rejoin the crew at some point. And
Indeed.
he seems better.
Mm-hmm. As long as you feel like you can do it, you can.
So yeah, you feel like you're making some progress with Lieutenant Barley, but just at that moment, there is a major power outage. The lights go out, computer systems flicker and turn off, and there's like this sound that sounds throughout the ship. That's like a as machinery and computers grind to a halt. And we'll cut to the bridge where Captain Harriman and Commander Han would be stationed. And you guys immediately notice the same thing. The bridge lights shut off, and then emergency backup lighting comes on, and computer systems all over the bridge start to flicker.
Do we have any internal communications at all?
Someone will have to, what's the word I'm looking for? You'll have to transfer power to those systems from backups.
Okay, I'll order that then. Let's see if we can get some communications with engineering established and find out what the problem is.
Okay. Who do you want to carry out that order?
If there is anybody at the engineering station, then they can do it. If not, then I think, I don't know, whichever crewman looks available.
Hold on just 1 second. I think
we don't have an operations officer, do we? We've just got Helm and Tactical, so.
Yeah, you do have, we can say that Chief Engineer Lieutenant Tasai happens to be on the bridge at that moment, who is a Vulcan woman. And if someone, I'm going to say that this is a control plus engineering role with a difficulty of 2. And that for her, that's a target number of 14. Would anyone like to roll for her? And in this case, the ship will not help because the ship is experiencing some kind of technical difficulties, clearly.
I can roll for if nobody else wants to.
Yep, go right ahead. It's her control is 10, engineering is 4, so her target number is 14. This is difficulty 2 roll.
And she's got applicable focuses?
Power systems, Starship power systems, yep.
14, you say?
Yes, sir.
So that's 2 successes.
Okay, that's what she needed. And she reports to Captain Harriman that I have rerouted power to communications and I can get us a message to engineering.
Okay, let's find out what's going on down there. Why did the lights go out?
Yeah, you hear a voice crackle over the intercom, and someone says, "Sir, it looks like we've had another problem with our thermionic field coils. They're malfunctioning again." And this would ring a bell for you because this is the kind of malfunction that caused the plasma fires in engineering just a few weeks ago.
Okay, well, let's get on that straight away. Lieutenant, you may want to try and get down to engineering and help out down there. And let's have a damage control team on standby as well, just in case we get more plasma fires.
Yeah, cool. Commander Han, do you have any concerns about what's going on?
Yeah, he feels that, this is too much like the the incident last time, and he runs some diagnostics to find out the reason behind it, roughly about whereabouts in the ship that it has initiated.
Yeah, Yong, give me an insight plus security roll with a difficulty of 1 as you start pressing buttons at your console and trying to get some readouts about what's going on in engineering.
I got an 8 and 13, both success.
Okay, so you generate a point of momentum. You now have a total of 3 in your bank. And so since the last plasma fire incident in engineering, there have been some precautions taken to keep that from happening again. But you start looking through some of the technical data and figure out that the thermionic field coils, it's the same malfunction you experienced last time, but there have been precautions taken to make sure that there's not a catastrophic plasma fire in engineering this time. But it does look to you like it's a repeat of the malfunction of several weeks ago. That leads you to believe, and that thermionic field coil was replaced. So you are suspecting that perhaps there's something wrong with all of the field coils that the Venture left space dock with.
Okay. Yeah, he reports to the captain about his findings.
That seems unlikely. Unlikely that we would leave space dock with all the field coils being faulty in some fashion. I think this probably requires some more investigation. If you could take a look into it, Commander.
Yes, sir. Do you believe that there was a tampering?
I'm not sure. That's what I'm looking to you for. I just find it unlikely that the space dock would have allowed us to leave with faulty field coils.
Okay. All right. So Hando decides to do a diagnostics and find out which personnel had access to the controls over these thermiotic field coils. The engineers who are responsible for that.
Yeah. So the chief engineer that you left, that you started the mission with, died in that plasma fire, and since then, you've had Lieutenant Tasai, who has basically received a field promotion to chief engineer, and she's had that position for the last couple of weeks, and she would have overseen the installation of the replacement field coils.
Captain, I would like to speak to Lieutenant Sai. Permission to leave the bridge, sir.
Sure. Go down to engineering and just observe for the moment. Let's let the engineers do their job and see if they can fix my ship first. But
Yes.
by all means, keep an eye on them.
Yes, sir.
So we'll cut to Commander Han going down to engineering and catching up with Lieutenant Tasai, who reports that she believes that emergency power can be restored to at least all critical ship systems. There might be some inconveniences because of power shortages, but she thinks she can get the ship running again, at least for a little while. You will need, she says that, Commander, we will need replacement field coils. All the field coils we have appear to have the same defect, the same design flaw. We can either go back to the nearest starbase, which would be at least a week at maximum warp, and I'm not sure we would make it that far, or perhaps we could acquire new field coils somewhere else.
I will relay that information to the captain. Thank you, Lieutenant Sai.
Yes, sir.
Yep. He goes back to the captain and reports his findings. So, Captain, she explains that we may need to acquire new field coils, either at the nearest starbase or someplace else.
Well, right now we're several weeks, if not months, away from the nearest starbase. I'm loath to turn back in unless we absolutely have to. So if you can work with our navigator and find somewhere closer that we might be able to get some field coils, or at least the materials we need to make some.
Aye, Captain.
Yeah, so our Andorian junior science officer would probably be able to help out with that. I can't, what was his name? Tulak? I'm bringing it up right now.
Too
Yep, sounds about right.
Yeah, so he can attempt a sensor sweep with reason plus science. It's going to be a target number of 12. This will be a difficulty 1 sensor scan. Anyone want to try that?
Let's do it. So let me roll.
And this time the ship can run as well because it's now got emergency power restored. And I'm bringing up the ship stats right now.
2 to 4.
I'm sorry?
Got a 2 and a 4.
Okay. So is that 2 successes or is that, do you have a, oh, I guess I would know, huh?
No. This is the person, so I don't know if it's their focus or not, but
it's a minor NPC, so it doesn't have focuses, at least the stats I'm looking at. So 2 successes. He needed 1. Does anyone want to roll for the ship, which is going to be sensors plus con, which is a target number of 10. Anyone want to roll a d20 and tell me if you can get 10 or less?
okay, I rolled and I got an 8.
Okay, so you got 3 successes on that roll. You now have 5 points of momentum stored up, and Lieutenant Tulak is able to conduct a sensor sweep of surrounding space and discovers that there is a large free-floating settlement that appears to have millions of life forms living in it, and it's only a couple of days away. And it seems to him that with so many people that there would probably be some kind of ship repair, ship maintenance facility there.
Okay, well, once the engineering departments have got the lights back on, let's head there as quickly as we can without breaking any more field coils.
Yeah, you hear the computer systems on the bridge kind of hum back to life, and the lights come on full strength, and you hear a report from Lieutenant Tasai saying, "We have full emergency power restored, sir. We've got warp engines are back online at your command, although I would ask that you go easy on them."
Okay, Lieutenant, how about we stick to, say, warp 3?
I think we can manage that, sir.
Good. And can you do whatever you need to do to make sure my ship doesn't break again?
We'll hold her together, sir.
I expect nothing less.
Okay, so I'm going to spend 2 points of threat as you guys set out on this journey to this big bustling settlement, and I'm going to create a complication, and that is damaged field coils or malfunctioning field coils that might make any kind of rolls that you make having to do with the mechanical aspect of the venture will be 1 step more difficult than usual, because the entire ship is experiencing these difficulties due to the malfunctioning thermionic field coils. Do you guys want to do anything on the way to this settlement?
Yeah, Hando's gonna sniff around. Basically, he's gonna tell the captain. He's gonna say, "Captain, I find it highly unlikely that a critical component such as thermionic field coil has uniformly passed the quality control when everything that we brought along onto the board is faulty. I suspect there's an aspect that we hadn't really considered."
I would have to agree. How about going back through the maintenance records from the space dock and see if there's anything there, and perhaps work with Lieutenant Tsai and do an analysis of the field coils that have been damaged. See if there's any sort of common factors.
Yes, sir. And with that, Hando's going to pull up the profile of Lieutenant Desai and other engineering personnel that works with the thermiotic field coils.
Yeah, give me a difficulty 2, insight plus security roll, Commander Han.
I'll spend a momentum, so I'll
Okay.
roll 3. But there was no need. I got 2 successes.
Okay, you can still roll the third die just to see if you generate momentum.
3 successes.
Okay, so you get that point of momentum back. You still got 5 banked, 5 points of momentum banked.
Nice.
And you do a very thorough inspection of the backgrounds of all of the engineering crew, and you don't see anything that raises your suspicions about anyone that's on board the ship. However, you do notice that there have been some erased maintenance logs going back to the period when the Venture was still in dry dock.
Does he have any idea who was responsible for that or where it was initiated?
No, it looks like someone very intentionally erased this data and did a pretty expert job of it.
Okay. I see.
But
All right.
you do think that that's irregular. That stands out to you as unusual.
Yeah, he's going to go back to the captain, and he'll let him know. He's going to say, Captain, I found these erased maintenance logs. It seems like it was erased from the dry dock before our ship has embarked.
So was it erased by somebody in the dry dock?
I believe it's from the dry dock itself. I don't believe there's any suspicion that's warranted on any of our personnel, but it seems like someone intentionally fudged the quality control for these parts that had been loaded up on our ship, sir.
From the date of the maintenance records that are missing, or the supposed date, can you tell whether they might have been erased by the dry dock people alone, or whether it could have been somebody who was assigned to the ship at that time, who's still with us now?
That I haven't thought of, sir. Let me go back and check for you.
My wife keeps me watching some of these murder mysteries, so I've got a very suspicious mind.
Yeah, as you go back and consult those records again, Commander Han, it doesn't look like it's possible to parse out. I think either of the scenarios Captain Harriman asked you about seem equally likely from what you're looking at. It could have been dry dock Starfleet personnel who tampered with these logs, or it might have been someone assigned to the Venture at that time. Or it might have been simply an oversight, someone forgetting to file the correct paperwork.
Yeah. So, Captain, from the records alone, it doesn't seem like there's any conclusive evidence to point one way or the other.
Okay, it's worth a shot. I like to believe that I can trust every member of my crew, but okay, I'll leave it in your capable hands, Chief. You keep an eye on things down in engineering, and let me know if you spot anything suspicious.
Yes, Captain.
What about Dr. Ozil? You up to anything on this 2-day voyage over to this settlement?
Oh god, it's gonna be trying to keep everything going. There's no lights going, and I'm just feel like, okay, so what's the minimum I can keep running here and ensure the coffee brewer is still going?
Yeah, so there's part of your nursing staff who actually points it out. Sir, we're under orders to turn off all unessential equipment. Do you want me to power down the coffee press?
No, we got to keep it going. It's essential.
But sir,
yes, I understand, but let us go with this. This is, of course, going to be something for morale. Uh, very much morale for sickbay too.
well, if you think that it's essential to the proper functioning and happiness of the crew, then I suppose as the chief medical officer, that's your call to make.
Now, would you like a cup?
Why, yes, of course. I would love to try some. What's special about this particular blend?
Oh my goodness! This is actually comes from the Altug Mountains in Turkey. Was able to get some before having to depart, but this, of course, is going to be very rare because you know how far Earth is from here. So yeah.
So your nurse takes a sip and says, "Wow, doctor, I absolutely agree. This is essential from now on."
Good.
Cool. So we will, unless there's anything else you guys want to do, we will cut to the next scene. You guys okay with that?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. So the Venture comes out of warp near this bustling facility, and I will show you an image of what it looks like. It is bustling and chaotic as there are starships and small short-range craft buzzing around it at all times. It's difficult to really get a sense of this thing, or whether you could call it a space station or a dock. It seems to be just sort of a haphazard conglomeration of various spacecraft and modules that were never really designed to fit together originally. And this image actually comes from the film Valerian, I think. But I found it online, and it was exactly what I was looking for. So, Captain Harriman, what do you do?
Oh, before we get in too close and in amongst all that lot, let's see if we can hail them.
Yep. So hailing frequencies are opened, and you get an audio message. Someone identifying himself as Vinjak Karka, and he's got a gruff voice, and he says, "Yes, how can I help you?" You can hear all kinds of background static and people talking in the background. It sounds really busy wherever he is.
I'm Captain Robert Harriman of the Federation Starship Venture. We're experiencing some engineering difficulties. We'd like to dock in order to trade with you for engineering parts.
Yes, whatever you're looking for, you'll find it here. Whatever services you require, Crossroads is the place to be.
Okay, if you could send us docking information. We do have the ability to transport aboard your station from up to 40,000 kilometers. So if you'd like to tell us where we can park.
He says, no, we don't handle things that way. That's not how things happen here at the Crossroads. Feel free to just beam aboard anywhere. The private residences are shielded. Anywhere else that's not shielded, you are free to beam aboard.
And do you have any recommendations as to who to talk to for the engineering parts we might need?
Well, there is, I'm told, a talented engineer named Aja. She runs some kind of maintenance facility, though I've never met her myself. Very busy, you understand.
Thank you very much. We will see you very soon.
Yes, enjoy your stay. Whatever your appetite, you can slake it here at the Crossroads.
I'm sure that's true. Okay. let's get an away team together then. I think security chief will take along the chief engineer. We'll take the doctor as well. He might come in useful when it comes to dealing with other life forms.
Did he say steak or slate?
Slake.
So Bill just opens up and talking to the captain because it was along the lines of, is this one of those like local things they say out here? Well then, I'll get myself ready.
Okay, Paul, who'd you say was going on this? You got Captain Harriman, Commander Han,
I'm thinking
Doctor.
myself, security officer, chief engineer, and we'll take the doctor.
Okay, Lieutenant Tsai. Okay, yeah, Lieutenant Tsai reports to the transporter room and meets the three of you there.
Now, Lieutenant, I hope you've got a complete shopping list.
Of course, sir. I always strive to be thorough.
Good. Let's go shopping then.
All right. So the transporter effect whooshes around you, and you transport aboard the Crossroads. I'll stop sharing that now. Okay. So for this scene, I've given it a couple of traits. One is cyberpunk-esque. The other is crowded. The interior of this facility that you beam into is crowded with a wildly diverse array of life forms. The humid air smells like a strange mix of exotic food, recycled air, and burned electronics. Neon advertisements flash on every surface in languages you don't even recognize. Constant chatter from an intercom system echoes off the graffiti-covered walls. How do you guys respond to that?
Boy, I feel like I'm back home.
Is this wide open enough for you, Doctor?
I gotta say, there's a lot of neon lights here. And everything's stands toy.
Definitely a feast for the eyes. Okay, let's start asking around, see if we can find this Arja.
Yeah, how do you guys go about, there don't seem to be any maps or directories or anything like that. So how do you guys propose to find what you're looking for in this mess?
Hando just grabs the first alien that he sees, and he says, "Hey, howdy. My name is Hando. I'm looking for some parts for a starship. You know who sells them?"
Hando, why don't you give me a presence plus command roll with a difficulty of 2. You have 5 points momentum in your bank.
I'll spend the momentum and presence plus what?
Presence plus command.
Ooh, 8 and 6, and that's 2 successes. And the third one's a failure.
Okay, so 2 successes is what you needed. As you kind of wade into the crowd, and you find someone who looks rather feline, covered with orangish reddish fur, has a tail, whiskers on its face, and it directs you down. It kind of points to an elevator and says, take that down to the lowest level you can. There is an old mining vessel that has been retrofitted. It's an old barge. The cargo areas have been retrofitted almost like hangars, and there's a mechanic there that might be able to help you out. I don't know. I can't guarantee she has what you want.
Hando says, "Thank you," as he's allergic to the feline.
That's awesome.
He goes back to the captain and says,
I'm just gonna put a hypo spray at him.
"Thank you, Doctor. Oh boy, I'm just highly allergic to these feline."
Yes. Just don't go try making out with one. I don't. Okay.
So I was told that we could go down this way, and we'll find the mining vessel, and there's a fellow that could help us.
Okay,
Thanks, Doctor.
sounds good. I was wondering, do you and the doctor want to split up and take a look around while the lieutenant and I go shopping? I'd certainly like to know more about this place, particularly what we might be getting ourselves into here.
Well, what do you say, Doctor?
I say, let's go do it. Let's go check this place out.
Yep, so Lieutenant and myself will go and see if we can find this mining barge and go shopping. And these guys can go get themselves into trouble.
Yeah, I love that idea. Excellent idea, Captain Harriman. Thank you. So yeah, Captain Harriman and Lieutenant Tasai are able to wade through the crowd and get to this lift that takes you downward to a much lower level of the Crossroads. For now, we'll stay with Dr. Ozil and Commander Han. What is it that you guys, let's come up with like an objective. Is there something that your characters, given this opportunity, would seek out?
Hando is going to look for a bat'leth.
And why is that?
He's a weapons collector.
He's just gonna find like the blade from the Predator movie there.
Yeah, he's going to look around and look for a really badass looking blade.
Excellent. Just taking some notes here. Okay, and Dr. Ozil, when you hear Commander Han say, "Hey, let's go look and see if we can find a real bat'leth," what's his response?
You didn't keep one from the people that boarded our ship from last time?
Did they have bat'leth before?
The Klingons, one of them did, but he was on the station, and they were all transported to Kronos anyway.
Yeah.
And all their effects with them.
Yep. Yeah, he's going to say, well, I didn't keep any of them because we returned all their effects when they left the ship. Doctor?
Okay, then. So I guess we'll be looking at various surgical instruments from all sorts of different people. Just make sure it's not covered in feline fur.
You don't mean to say you're going to use a bat'leth as a surgical instrument, do you?
No, it is a friendly metaphor, creative one.
Well, let's go and look for them then.
So you guys also wade into this crowd, this wall-to-wall buzz of humanity, and start walking around this chaotic settlement. You do find that there is a weapons shop selling various weapons from all kinds of different cultures across the galaxy. What is the complication that arises from this situation? There's got to be a complication to keep you from just walking out with a bat'leth.
Oh man, I was about to suggest is that he gets one of those people that talks about that this bat'leth was folded 1,000 times. You know, the sort of guy that's like really into Klingon culture, that's trying to like be a bit of a problem to Han here.
Maybe they walk into a pawn shop, and there's a Klingon who probably pawned it, but he's trying to get it back. But he obviously doesn't have enough money. Maybe that could be a problem.
Oh, I like that. Yeah, so there's this enormous Klingon with one eye, and he is standing at the desk. They're the like the checkout counter, and there's all sorts of transparent aluminum separating the Klingon from the clerk. And the Klingon is slamming his giant fist down on the counter and swearing and saying, "You give me back that batleth. You don't even know how to use it. That belongs to me. It once belonged to a Dahar master. You do not deserve to wield that batleth."
Listen, fella, I paid fair and square. This is mine. The shopkeeper gave it to me. So I would suggest that you accept the reality and just walk away.
You do not earn a batleth like that with mere money. You have no honor.
Oh, I can't believe you said that. I mean, I wouldn't say that for a fella who would pawn off his batleth. Whoever heard of a Klingon who would part with his batleth willingly?
I did not do it willingly. I had too much blood wine last night at a bar. I found myself unconscious for a period. And when I came to, my batleth was gone. I searched around the station, and this patak had it for sale in his store.
Are you admitting that you're not disciplined enough to own a batleth? I don't know whether if that's a admission that I would be proud to blurt out loud.
He puffs himself up and points his finger right in the center of your chest, and he says, "Give me the batleth, or you will not leave the station alive."
And here I am just face palming and being like, oh my goodness.
All right. Is that a challenge, my friend?
Absolutely, it is a challenge.
Here, doctor, hold on to this batleth. How about we have a duel of honor? It won't be a lethal challenge, but whoever gets knocked down the first loses. Do you accept my challenge, Klingon?
I do.
Very well. And
Okay,
he
so
turns to a doctor and says, I don't suppose I'll get in trouble with the captain for doing this, do you?
As long as you don't end up killing him, just be careful.
All right. Yeah, Hando tries to puff himself up against this huge Klingon, but I'm not so sure whether he's able to measure up to him.
Yeah, all right. So we're going to do opposed daring plus security rules. And I am going to look up some stats for a Klingon warrior. Here we are. Okay, I'm going to spend some thread on this roll, Yong. You have 4 points of momentum if you want to use those.
Yeah, I'll pay 2 points of momentum.
So you get one extra die for 1 point momentum. If you want another die, you'll need to spend another 2 points of momentum.
Okay.
Do it.
Yeah, I'll spend 3 then.
Okay, so that leaves you with just 1 point of momentum left. And so you can roll 4 d20s. This is daring plus security. And I will tell you what the Klingon gets. 15.
Ooh. If I get it exactly on that number, is that a success or a failure?
It is. Equal to the target number is a success.
Okay. All right. So 2 successes.
If I have to spend threat in order to just buy some engineering parts, I'm going to be a bit upset.
Okay. I got 4 successes.
Okay, the Klingon only got 1. And so you get 3 points of momentum back, and you can narrate for me how you out-wrestle this Klingon. As you get close enough to him to wrestle with him, you can smell the blood wine on him.
Yeah. As the large Klingon lurches towards him, Hando does his, trademark right hook kick right to the solar plex, having him bend down a little bit and connects with the uppercut. And as he lurches back, he grabs the leg and pulls him down and throws him across the floor.
Yeah, so everything in this pawn shop shakes, shudders, as the weight of this Klingon slams down on the steel deck. And the little clerk behind the counter ducks down as soon as he sees that there's trouble breaking out in his shop. He pushes a button and all sorts of like steel curtains come down over some of the more expensive merchandise. But the Klingon falls to the deck and he's defeated. And he looks at you. His eyes are huge with rage. And he says, "Keep the batleth. But know this, Earther, you have made an enemy this day."
Thanks for the batleth. And he smiles and takes the batleth.
Okay, well, this large enraged Klingon doesn't get up to follow you, but he definitely looks you over and commits to memory your face and Dr. Ozil's face.
Yes, and I just go instinctively asking if he needs help getting up and all of that.
Puh! He bats your hand away. "I do not need your help."
Okay, understood.
Well, Doctor, I suppose we're supposed to. We're here to make friends, but I think I just made an enemy.
Well then, that tends to happens when you're looking for things that are like that. Well then, let's go see what they have at the bazaar.
Okay, so we'll end the scene there with Commander Han now gaining possession of a new batleth, and we'll cut to Captain Harriman and Lieutenant Tasai, who have gone down into the bowels of the Crossroads and made your way to, I guess you'd call it a shop, or it kind of has like a smell of like grease, like going to an auto shop or something like that. And it's you have to pass through what's the word I'm looking for? Like where two ships connect together. What's the thing?
An airlock.
Airlock. Yes, you pass through an airlock. Thank you, Paul. To go into this facility, and it does remind you of an old, rusted out cargo barge more than anything else. But there is a woman, a green-skinned woman with dark-colored hair, and she's got large goggles, electronic goggles that you assume gives her some kind of improved eyesight. And she says, "Hello, can I help you?" And she's wearing like coveralls covered with grease.
She doesn't happen to be Orion at all, does she?
She is.
Oh dear. Morning. I'm Captain Robert Harriman of the Federation Starship Venture. We're here looking to trade for some engineering parts.
Trade, huh? Yeah, you Starfleet types, you don't usually have money, do you?
We don't have pockets, so carrying money is a little difficult.
Uh-huh. Okay, well, what do you need?
Lieutenant?
Lieutenant Tasai explains that you need some thermionic, what was the word I said it was?
Field coils.
Field coils, thermionic field coils, yes.
And I'm hoping she's got the specs with her.
Yes, she would have. She would be able to explain exactly in detail what you guys need for your ship.
I'll let her do that, and then anything you can do to help us.
Well, I think I can probably source some field coils, but they will require some kind of modifications to be compatible with your starship. That's probably going to cost you. How would you propose to pay for this, Captain?
This is where the going gets tough. Okay. What would you like?
Well, I mean, I'm sure your vessel is top of the line. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, we could always use some of your Starfleet replicators.
I think we may have to fall slightly short of that. There are certain technologies on board the ship that are still restricted. I'm afraid I'm not allowed to trade in those. But certainly any raw materials we might have on board or any existing well-known technologies, we'd be quite happy to trade.
Well, I had a feeling you might say that, Captain, but the fact is you're a long way from Earth. I'm sure on the frontier like this, you might be able to bend some rules.
Bend, but not break, unfortunately. Is there anything else you would accept as payment?
Well, I guess dilithium is always in demand wherever you go.
How much are we talking about? And Lieutenant, how much can we spare?
She thinks that I don't know what's like. What do you think, Paul? What's like a unit of dilithium? A crystal, one single crystal?
I don't know. My guess is it would be in grams. I don't think you're talking like huge crystals. So I don't know. Let's say like 20 or 30 grams of dilithium is, like basketball size.
Okay. Yeah. Give me. It's probably going to be presence plus command, and I will oppose it with Aj's roll.
Any chance my decisive leadership might come into it? Or
yeah, I think so.
Okay. Okay.
Just 1 second here.
Presence plus command.
Here's our stat block. Okay. So, yeah, go ahead and make that roll. You've got 4 points of momentum at your disposal, Paul, if you want to use them.
Yeah, I'm going to blow 1 point of momentum for an extra dice.
Okay. You bet. That leaves you with 3.
Yep. So with the extra dice, that's 4 successes.
Okay, so she got 2 successes. You generate 2 points of momentum. And what is it, do you think, that convinces her that this is a good deal for her to take? Paul, what is it about your offer that she decides to take you up on it?
I'm thinking it'll be down to the quality of the dilithium. I mean, Federation starships only use the best, so once you've taken this dilithium from us, you'll be able to sell it at a premium price, for sure.
Well, I'll have to inspect the dilithium, of course, but yeah, I would expect that a Constitution-Class starship is probably going to have some good stuff. So I'll tell you what, you come back here in 2 hours, I'll have some field coils, you bring some dilithium, and if the dilithium is of the quality that I expect it to be, we'll make an exchange.
We'll bring a sample over for you to take a look at, and if it's acceptable, we'll transport the rest here when we transport the field coils out.
So she picks up a rag off of a rusty old piece of equipment and wipes her hands off and offers it to you to shake.
I will take it.
She says, "It's a deal, Captain."
Sounds good to me. Okay, Lieutenant, let's get back to the ship. We've got some dilithium to dig out.
So as you and Lieutenant Tasai whirl around to leave the shop, you almost run into 2 rather large Orion males as they enter the shop. And they kind of walk in, and immediately you feel a threatening presence from them. And they move right past you and glare at Aja, and they say, "Oh, so do you think you could hide here forever? You think these Federation lackeys are going to protect you?"
I'll stop temporarily, turn back to and approach Arja again, ignoring the two Orion males, and just say, just to double check. So it was 2 hours when we're supposed to be coming back, isn't it? Sorry, gentlemen, didn't mean to interrupt here. If you wouldn't mind.
This is none of your business, Starfleet. And one of them kind of tries to shove you out of the way.
I'll see if I can kind of dodge the shove.
Sure, give me control plus security.
I knew you were going to say that.
And you got 5 points momentum currently. Ooh.
I'll spend one.
Okay, I just rolled 3 successes, FYI.
Well, even with the extra one, I only rolled 2.
So these guys are big, and you can see, they're wearing like tank tops that really expose this rippling green muscle on their arms, and one of them just shoves you aside, and you try to duck out of the way, but he's deceptively quick too, and shoves you, and you kind of lose your balance and stumble for several meters before you regain your balance. And
hey,
they both kind of laugh at you.
Gentlemen, there's no need for this at all. We're just here to do some business, that's all. Surely we can come to some other arrangement.
Well, we're here to do business too. And if you knew who we represent, I don't think you'd be interfering, small fry.
Oh, really? Who do you represent then?
I think you know, Captain.
No, can't say that I do.
Well, if you're that stupid, then I don't feel any obligation to let you in on the secret.
Fair enough. If it's a secret and I don't know who you represent, then I can't really be afraid of them, can I?
And at that moment, Aja is going to fire a disruptor at one of these thugs. And it's going to be a daring plus security with difficulty of 2. And she hits him. There's without you even noticing, she very quickly reaches into her coveralls and pulls out a disruptor and blasts this guy point blank, and you smell burning flesh immediately. And he falls, he sprawls out on the deck, unconscious, perhaps dying. What do you do?
I
You
think
and Lieutenant Tasai are now in it.
now is a good time for the Lieutenant and I to find some cover and pull our phasers out. And, of course, set them on stun.
Okay. Do you want to take a shot at the remaining Orion?
No. We're going to hold our fire for the moment. Don't want to join a firefight if we can help it.
Okay. So the remaining Orion charges after he pulls a disruptor actually, and he fires back at Aja and misses, and there's a shower of sparks behind her. She ducks behind a large piece of equipment, and you and Tasai probably can as well, because there's so much machinery just kind of laying around this workshop. So they've both acted in this round,
okay.
And either you or Tasai can now act.
Okay, now he's taking shots at our new field coils, so I'll see if I can hit him with a stun from the phaser.
Cool. So yeah, you use your bonus action. So actually, if you don't move, you can use your bonus action to aim, which would allow you to re-roll one of your d20s on the shot.
I will aim from where I am then.
Okay. So you kind of peek out from this big chunk of machinery you're hiding behind. Give me a control plus security roll with a difficulty of 2. And because you're aiming, you can re-roll one of the d20s if you choose.
And how much momentum have we got?
You got 4 points of momentum.
I'll spend one of those then.
Okay, you got it.
Okay. So I've got 16, a 4, and a 1. And what was it? Control plus security. So the 16's a failure. So I'll re-roll that one.
Okay.
Ooh. So that's a 4 and 2 1s.
Oh, wow. So what, 5 successes?
Yep.
Okay. So 3 points of momentum. You can roll damage. You can use the 3 points of momentum you just spent. You can use some of them to get extra challenge dice on the damage if you choose.
I think that might be a good idea. What have I got? For a type 2 phase of 7 damage. How about I spend a couple of momentum?
Okay.
See if I can drop this guy in one shot.
Sure.
So 9 dice. This
Yeah,
is going to be
9d6.
fun.
9 challenge dice.
Okay. So we have a 2, a 6, a 5, a 5, a 2, a 2. Oh. The 2, hang on, 2s and 3s are worth nothing, aren't they?
2s are worth 2. So 1 is 1, 2 is 2,
That's
3s
right,
and
yeah.
4s are nothing.
So
5s
2,
and 6s are 1 plus an effect.
1, 1, 2, 2, 0, 1, 1. So that's a total of 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 damage and 4 effects.
Okay, so yeah, that stuns the other Orion as he falls to the deck in a hulk.
Okay. Asha, are you okay?
Yeah, thank you for the assist, Captain. I can guarantee there are going to be more Syndicate thugs out there. We need to get out of here. I don't really have time to explain, but we got to go.
And by we got to go, that means you are coming with us, yes?
No, I think you need to come with me, Captain. I know this place way better than you do.
Okay, let's go.
So she waves you, indicates that you should follow her deeper into the cargo vessel that she's using as her shop.
I think while we're doing that, I'll get on the communicator to the security chief and the doctor and just let them know that we might have gotten into a little bit more trouble than they did.
Yeah, so you pull it out and it's like a choo 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 choo. And what do you tell them?
I'll give them a rough idea of our location and where we're heading, and just let them know that we've run into some issues with the Orion Syndicate and to watch their backs.
Yeah, which one of you guys are you talking to, or both of
them? Either one doesn't matter. Probably the security chief. We could do with the backup.
Cool. Yeah, Hando, go ahead and get in on this conversation.
Yes, Captain. We're on our way. And he looks to the doctor and says, "It seems like the captain has gotten himself into greater trouble than we did."
Yes, it's the Orion Syndicate. So let me just make sure we get these tea leaves all wrapped up, and then we'll head out.
I'm just glad to have this batleth. he looks at his batleth.
Yes, and now we got some black tea for the ship.
Let's hurry then.
So you guys are hurrying to meet up with Tasai and Captain Harriman and Aja, is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Describe for me the manner in which you do that in this crowded station.
Hando is actually from a busy location. You know, he grew up in a very busy colony type of a environment, so he's very used to like pushing people aside and sliding between folks. So yeah, he's basically edging himself, turning his body sideways so that he could slip between them, and he's making sure that no one's gonna snatch his batleth away from him. And he says, "Come on, doctor, follow me this way."
Yes, I'll follow through, and I'll be amazed at him sounding like he's from New York.
So yeah, you guys start making your way down to the cargo vessel, and you find yourself in it's kind of in the bowels of the Crossroads. And at some point you kind of duck out of the crowd. There's less foot traffic here as you're getting closer to Aja's facility, and you can hear boot steps echoing down the corridor behind you.
Somebody's tailing us.
Perhaps, I mean, perhaps not, but let's try to be a bit more cautious, okay?
Yeah, let's speed up a little bit.
So you guys catch up with Captain Harriman and Tasai and Aja, and Aja waves you into the back of her shop, and it's basically an enormous cargo barge, and there's very little lighting in there. It's dark and cluttered. There's all kinds of bits of machinery. Looks like there's some cranes and conveyor belts that lead into adjacent compartments. And she says, "Look, if those two thugs are any indication, I can guarantee that there's more syndicate operatives who are chasing after us. We need to get to the far side of this barge. There's some transporter equipment. I think if you just give me a chance, I'll have enough time to put it together and we can get off this bulk."
Why are they after you? Do you owe them some money?
No, I don't owe them money. Let's just say it's a long story and we don't have time for it.
Okay. So you're looking to transport us off here. We can transport off straight away now, can't we? Is there any reason why we can't?
That sounds like a great idea to me, Captain.
We can certainly take you back to our ship, but before we do, I'd really like to hear that long story, or at least enough of it to know what I'm getting into here.
I think with the fact is you shot at one of them, we're already involved, Captain.
You guys can hear the boot steps now getting closer to you, and she says, "They're after us. There's no time, Captain. If you can beam us off this thing, let's get out of here."
Okay, I'll contact the Venture and get the five of us beamed out.
So you flip open your communicator again, chip, 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 and contact the Venture. And you guys remember how the Venture was experiencing technical difficulties?
Let me guess. It's experiencing technical difficulties again.
It absolutely is. There's too much static to even, you can hear just a few words coming through from the communications officer on the bridge, but it's just too garbled and you can't get a good message through. You also suspect that it's going to be really difficult to transport with the ship in that condition anyway.
If the words are coming through garbled, I'm afraid we're probably going to end up being garbled when we get to the ship.
Aja, you remember just a few minutes ago when I said that we could transport us all away from here?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. We need to figure out some other way to get away from the Orions.
Like I said, I've got some transporter equipment at the back of the barge. If you just give me some cover for maybe a minute, I think I can put it together and maybe I can beam us back to your ship.
Okay. Lieutenant, see if you can help her out. Doc, if you want to take cover, come on then, Chief. Let's see if we can buy them a few minutes.
Yes,
so
sir.
We have to get to the next compartment. So she points towards the other end of this barge, and so it's at like long range. It's like 2 zones away, and just at that moment, you see like something like a half a dozen, maybe 8 more Orions charge into the compartment behind you, and it looks like we're going to have an action scene. But before that, let's take a quick break.
Okay.
Oh.
Cool. I'll be back in about 5 minutes, guys.
Yeah, as soon as you said 8 of them, I said bathroom break.
It's that dramatic tension when you know it's going to be a commercial break.
Yeah, that's right. Cut into commercial. Okay, I'm back. Are you guys back?
Yep.
Yep.
Episode number 2 of Star Trek Explorers, brought to you by delicious Pabst Blue Ribbon.
You need that Robin Duvall scene in Blue Velvet.
Oh, there we go.
How did it, kid? That's Blue Ribbon.
I lost my page. Okay, well, let's jump back into it. So you guys have... So basically, this is kind of a chase/action scene where Aja has told you that you guys need to get through to the next compartment over to get to the transporter equipment. To get to the other end of the compartment is at long range, which is a distance of 2 zones. In the meantime, a handful of Orion Buccaneers are hot on your tail. So to move through long distance, so as on your turn, you get a bonus action, and then you can attempt a task. To move, you can move to medium range as a minor action. So you can move to the next zone as a minor action, and then still like fire your phaser or attack or something like that. To get to long range to the other side of the compartment in 1 round will require that you take the sprint task, where you attempt a difficulty 1 fitness plus security roll, and then you can move additional zones for every point of momentum that you generate. So that's kind of the situation that you're in. One of you, I would say Commander Han, because you have the highest, you're tied for the highest daring, plus you're the security officer. So you can act first as you hear the footfalls of 4 Orion Buccaneers entering this cargo bay right behind you.
All right. He's gonna say, Captain, Doctor, I'll hold him back here.
I'm going to exercise my decisive leadership here because it does give us an advantage in a conflict.
Okay, and what is that?
So I'm going to order the doctor to fall back along with the commander, but just like 1 zone. So I want to do kind of a leapfrog effect. So they fall back 1 zone, they put up cover fire, then I fall back, and so on. I'll put up the cover fire to start with, and I have a very specific thing I want to try and do. But if I exercise that decisive leadership, I don't know if I have to roll for it at all. But basically, it means it costs us 0 to keep the momentum, to keep the initiative.
Okay, so in that case, someone still has to act first.
Yep. So that'll probably be the chief and the doctor.
Is there a a door that we could close or lock?
It's kind of too late for that. These guys are through the door and in the same zone as you.
So there are
Ozil.
4 of them that are in the same zone, right?
Yes, in the same zone as you, within close range.
Okay. Is there one that looks like is the leader?
Sure. Yes, one of them looks to be in command. He's got like some armor, whereas the other guys are these Orions generally tend to wear like like bare chests, bare torsos. This guy, one of them has some armor. That seems to indicate his importance to you.
So Captain wants us to fall back. Is that right? And lay him covering fire?
Yeah, I think that's right, because Fred had said it's 2 zones for us to get clear to the transporter equipment. Okay. So I'll put up covering fire this time. You guys fall back, and then I'll fall back next time. Because I've got something that I want to try.
Okay. As Hando listens to the captain, could I still take a shot at that leader?
Yes. So you, as a bonus action, you can move into the adjacent zone, which will get you halfway to the other side of the cargo bay, and then you could take a shot if you want, or you could shoot first and move.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and shoot first and then move.
Okay. So this is going to be a difficulty 2, control plus security roll,
Okay.
and you are firing at the lead, the Orion with the armor, correct?
Yeah. How many
Okay.
momentum do we have so far?
You have 4 points of momentum, and I have 2 points of threat.
Okay. I'm going to spend 2 points of momentum.
So if you want to get 2 extra dice, you'll need to spend 3 points of momentum.
Okay. Actually, just 1 then.
Okay. So you get 1 extra die. It's a
Okay.
difficulty 2, daring or control plus security to fire your phaser.
It is 15's the target. I rolled 9 and 4, and the extra one I got 12. So 3 successes.
Okay. So you generate a point of momentum, and you can roll damage for your phaser. Do you have it set on a lethal setting, or is it on stun?
It's on stun.
Okay.
And I believe mine is 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Here we go. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. He does 4 points of damage with 2 effects.
Okay. I am going to have to look up. You've got a type 2 phaser, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. So that has, I think I'll look up the quality here. Okay, type 2 phaser has the charge quality, which I think.
Actually, that's 6. I'm sorry. I totally disregarded a roll of 2. I lumped it in with the 3. So he does 6 points of damage with 2 effect.
Okay, and then you're using your minor action to move into the next zone?
Yeah.
Okay, so just so you guys know, your type 2 phasers have the charge quality. So when you roll an effect, if you perform a prepare minor action before attacking, you can add one of the following damage effects: either area, intense, piercing 2, or vicious 1. But because you're using your minor action to move into an adjacent zone, you won't be able to change that. So you'll just do the damage.
Gotcha.
Okay. So you do 6 points of damage, which is enough to inflict an injury, I think, because I don't think this guy has any resistance. Yep. Okay. So he goes down and he's stunned, and you move into the next zone about halfway to the far wall of this cargo bay, where there's all kinds of broken and powered down machinery scattered all over the floor, and this kind of spacious cargo bay. And Han moves to the next zone. Okay. Captain Harriman, you said you wanted to use your special ability to keep the initiative?
Yeah, I need to perform an assist task though, and I can't think of any way to assist at the moment. So, unless me doing what I'm thinking of doing is is an assist, but I don't think it will be somehow.
Okay. Do you want to tell us what you're thinking of doing, or do you want to keep that to yourself for like a dramatic reveal?
Well, are the gravity controls for this cargo bay obvious?
Yes, they totally. If you're thinking what I'm thinking, yes, they are.
Then I probably am thinking what you're thinking.
Okay.
Especially since I happen to have 0G combat techniques as a focus.
Yeah, I like where this is going. If you want to assist Lieutenant Tasai to shut down the gravity to this deck, then I will allow you to use your special ability to keep the momentum.
I was thinking of just shooting out the gravity controls.
That's a lot more straightforward.
That would be more difficult, I think. But then, yeah, okay. I don't know how you would assist. Can anyone think of a way?
The side just shoots at it, and he's also doing covering fire as well.
I mean, if I can assist the lieutenant, and that allows me to use the ability in order to shut down the gravity controls, fine. I was just thinking of something a bit more direct, but I'll go with that.
Well, I mean, as a captain, you could simply say, "Hey, Lieutenant, turn off the gravity control," and then while you're covering for her, laying down the phaser, that would be an assistance of some sort, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, if Fred wants to allow that.
I do want to allow that, Paul, because I think this is going to be rad. Okay, so you order Lieutenant Tasai. You keep the initiative on your side. You order Lieutenant Tasai. She happens to just kind of bump into a control console that happens to be powered up. And you see that, and you notice, hey, that's the gravity control for this deck. You say, you can give her an order to shut down the gravity. And while she's doing that, you cover for her. I'll allow that. Yeah, that's assisting her.
Okay. Do I need to roll for anything?
Yeah, give me, you can assist by doing a daring plus command roll.
Ooh.
So you assist with that, and she will do her, God darn it, I took down her stats again. Should have opened a new window. Hold on just 1 second. There we go. Lieutenant Tasai. Okay, so she's going to use daring plus engineering. This is going to be a difficulty. Let's see. It's not equipment that she's familiar with, so it'll be difficulty 2. Daring plus engineering.
Okay.
Which is she's got a target number of 13, and if someone wants to roll 2 d20s for her, you can, and you've got 4 points of momentum. And Captain Harriman, you can assist with daring plus command.
Okay, I succeeded with the assist.
Okay,
so that gives her 1 success.
Yep. And then if someone wants to roll her daring plus engineering, which is 13.
Okay, did we at least get the minimum amount of successes required?
We don't know yet.
Somebody needs to roll.
I got 2 20s.
You rolled for her, and you rolled 20s?
Yeah.
You got to be kidding me.
No, I'm not. I'm looking at it, I'm like, wow.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
I mean, what's the worst that could happen? Explosive decompression?
Not explosive decompression, but so for one of the you rolled 2 20s, correct?
Yeah, basically, that's going to be like a really super complication.
So yeah, for one of the complications, I'm just going to take 2 stress. For the other complication, she tries to shut down the gravity, but what she actually does is reverse the gravity. And so all of you go plummeting up towards the ceiling of this cargo bay. And so everyone is going to take 5 points of damage, or 5 points of stress. That is going to be enough to cause injuries unless you've got 4 points of momentum, which you can spend 2 points to avoid an injury, or you can take some kind of further complication to avoid the injury, or you can spend your determination to take the injury but to fight on through the scene.
It's going to have to be the determination again, I think.
Okay, so Captain Harriman, as you plummet up towards the ceiling of this cargo bay, you aggravate that. You've taken like 2 concussions in 2 sessions. So you take the stress damage, you take the injury, but you spend your point of determination to, just through sheer will, stay conscious and present in the scene. What about...
Oh, not again.
What about Commander Han?
So I could spend a momentum to avoid something?
You can spend 2 points of momentum to avoid the injury if you want. You've got 4 points of momentum at your disposal. So both you and Dr. Ozil could spend all of your remaining momentum and not take the injuries. But then Tasai will take an injury.
Yeah. Yeah, Hando's going to take 2 points of momentum to
Okay.
avoid the injury.
Alternatively, you can also pay me stress to avoid the injury.
Okay. Yeah, I'll just spend the 2 momentum.
Okay. And Dr. Ozil?
Okay, I think I'll just give myself a complication because I'm going to invoke the negative aspect of my value of coffee is important. I've been buying like tea leaves and coffee. So I'm basically going to have myself try to save that stuff instead of me. So basically, I'm guessing any sort of physical activity, the difficulty is increased by 1 and complication range is increased by 1.
Yeah, so you like cradle the tea that you just bought, which is so precious to you, but you slam into the ceiling with your shoulder and separate it. And so you're not unconscious and you don't really suffer the stress damage, but you, like any kind of physical activity from this point on until you receive medical attention, is going to be a +1 added to the difficulty.
Okay, cool. So since I was invoking the negative aspect, I get a determination point.
Sure. Yep. In addition, Tasai is now she lands flat on her back on the ceiling and appears to be too injured to take any further actions. Someone will have to assist her to get out of the cargo bay. One of the Orions also becomes injured, and he appears to be too loopy to act. But two of them are pretty big and hardy guys, and they seem to be okay for the moment. And it's now one of their turns to act, and so he pulls out a disruptor pistol and is going to fire at the captain. And he misses. He rolls 1 success.
Oh, good.
The disruptor blast pings off some of the machinery close to you, Captain. And the initiative now shifts back to you guys. Han is acted. Captain Harriman is acted. No, you assisted, so I'm going to call that an action. So Dr. Ozil and Aja can still act.
Cool. So then I'm going to go get the knocked out engineer and then get them with us.
Okay, go ahead and give me a daring plus medicine roll with a difficulty of 1. And you have 2 points of momentum.
Yes, I also have that thing that gives me an extra dice. So
Right. Okay.
Let's see if we got it. Good thing it was 3 dice. One of them is a 7, so that's a success. The other 2 are 19.
Okay, well, there wasn't an increased complication range. So you got your 1 success, and you stabilize Tasai. So she's still injured. She's still basically unconscious, unable to act, but she's not going to die, at least for the moment. The initiative will now shift back to the Orions, unless you guys want to spend 2 points of momentum to keep it.
We haven't really got any left, have we?
You got 2 points left.
Who's left to act at the moment?
I think just Aja.
Just Aja.
Who does have a disruptor. I mean, she can fire, she can run.
I think she needs to get to the transporters. So I don't know if I can shout out to her to let her do that or tell her to do that.
She says, yeah, you can shout that out. And she says, I think you're right, Captain. And so she will take the sprint task. So she's going to do, it's a fitness plus security, which for her is a target number of 12. So for every point of momentum, it's a difficulty 1 task. And for every point of momentum she generates, she gets to move an extra zone. So I'm going to have one of you roll for her. And you've got 2 points of momentum to spend.
Okay. Who else wants to roll unless you want me to see if I can get 320s?
I would love for you to get 320s.
You really need to redeem yourself, so go for it.
I'll spend a momentum to get an extra dice and time to go.
Okay. Target number is 12.
Okay. I got 2, 7, and 9.
Okay, 3 successes. So that's good. So she generates 2 points of momentum. She moves to the middle of the room. And if you spend one of those points of momentum, then she will be able to get to the far side of the room into the third zone. Is that what you want to do?
Sure.
Okay. So when she gets there, they're basically the only way out of this room into the next compartment is through a conveyor belt, which someone will need to fire up and operate with an engineering task. That will be her turn. I'm sorry, go ahead.
The sort of observation that they're all looking at me to do this.
Well, I'm further away. I think I'm still in the original zone, so I'm at least 2 zones away, and I think Hando's in middle zone.
Yep.
Yeah, and Hando's basically going to cover for the captain to retreat.
So,
Okay.
yep, it's down
I
to
am
you,
going
Doc.
to drag the engineer and go up to the conveyor belt.
So before we do that, we still got the last Orion that needs to act. He's going to fire his disruptor, this time at Commander Han, who's just 1 zone away from him. This will be a difficulty 2. And I just get 1 success. Control, yep, 1 success. So he misses with his disruptor. So now we are in the second round of combat. You've got 2 Orions, and we've got Hando is in the second zone, Aja's in the third zone, and I think everyone else is still in the first zone, correct?
Yep, sounds about right.
Okay, so any of you can act to start the second round of combat.
I'm thinking now I'll shoot the gravity controls.
All right. If you miss or there's a complication, the regular gravity will reassert itself and you guys will go plummeting back down to the floor.
How much momentum have we got?
2 points.
Okay, let's blow both points. Oh, and I'm going to need 3, aren't I?
Yep. So you can pay me threat if you like.
Yeah, what the hell? Let's go for it. Let's do something daring.
Cool. So you get 4 d20s. It's a difficulty 2 roll of control plus security. And you've used all of your momentum.
4, huh?
Yes, sir.
What was it? Control plus security?
Yep.
4 20s.
Nope. 4 successes.
Nice.
1 only
Well
just. 10, 11, 6, and 12.
Okay. So you generate 2 points of momentum as you blast the gravity controls of this room. And all of a sudden, a new trait is introduced to the scene, 0 gravity. And you feel yourself become weightless. And also pieces of equipment all over that fell down to the ceiling are now starting to rise up from the deck as well. And you also have a bonus action, so you could move into the next zone if you like.
I think I will probably do that. Yep.
Okay.
I'll push off from either the floor / ceiling or a crate or something that's around and glide as fast as I can into the next zone.
Yep. So you are now into the next zone. And you just generated 2 points of momentum, so you can keep the initiative if you want to spend those and pass the initiative to someone else on your side. Or one of the Orions can act.
Sure, let's keep the initiative. What the hell?
Okay. Who wants to act next?
Hando's going to go ahead and act. He's up there, hovering, I guess. But as he does so, he's going to take that opportunity to get a clear shot at the Orion that's aiming for Captain.
Okay. So this will be, you kind of have to twist yourself upside down to get a good look because there's some equipment in the way, but then you tilt upside down and you've got a clear shot, and it's going to be a difficulty 2, control plus security.
Okay. I mean, getting these guys neutralized is pretty important, so I'm going to spend 1 momentum.
You don't have any momentum at this
Oh.
point, but you can pay me threat if you want.
You know what? I'll spend a threat. I'll pay
Okay.
a threat.
So you got 3 d20s.
Awesome. So 1, 8, 18. Oh, shoot. That's not good. So I only get 1 success, but on the third one, I rolled natural 20.
Fabulous. Okay. So I'm going to take the 2 threat, but I'm going to spend them immediately as another Orion enters the scene in the first zone. So there are now 3 Orions there as he kind of floats in to join his allies with the disruptor drawn. And he will fire immediately. He is going to fire at the Hando again because he saw you fire your phaser, and he has just joined the fray. I'm going to spend a point of threat to get a third d20. Oh my god, I didn't get any successes. Okay, he misses. I'm 0 for 3 tonight, guys, firing disruptors. Okay, the momentum shifts, or the initiative shifts back to you guys. Aja can act, Dr. Ozil can act.
Well, then, I think I'm going to do my action of just getting closer and carrying 2 different things. This is going to be a lot, isn't it?
So what are you trying to do, Miguel?
I got to pick up the engineer. I'm floating now, right?
Yes. So she just got a lot lighter.
Yes, everything's a lot lighter, but it's also a lot more harder to move around in 0G. Unless I had like something like a gun I can use to propel myself.
And you also took that complication, so anything will be, any like physical activity will be at a +1 difficulty.
Yep. So time to actually roll. So let's see here.
What are you trying to accomplish?
I need to get this person over to the conveyor belt, don't I? So we can move them out.
Yes. So that will be the sprint action as you fiercely kick off the side of the hull to move into that third zone. This is going to be fitness plus security, and it's going to be difficulty 2.
Oh, then. No momentum, correct?
Correct. You can pay me.
Oh, then I am going to go ahead and spend a determination.
Okay.
To get a natural 1, and now I'm going to roll 2 d20s.
Okay.
I got to get under a 9. 8 and 5.
All right. So you got 4 successes, and you needed 2. So you can spend 1 point of momentum to get into that third zone, which I expect that's what you want to do.
Yes, I think so.
Okay. And you still got 1 point of momentum left over as you are able to basically carry in a 0 gravity environment. You kick off the wall and with impressive speed and precision, move all the way to the far side of the room, where you see Aja is starting to work some controls next to this conveyor belt. Actually, you know what? Now that you're in a 0G environment, you don't even need, you can just kind of float through the passageway. So I'm going to say she doesn't really need to do that right now. But it's now one of the Orion's turns to act. He floats into the middle zone and fires at the captain. I'm going to spend, let's save it. This time it's a hit. And that does those. Okay, that only does 4 points of damage to the captain. So you suffer a flesh wound from the disruptor. You can feel it singeing some of your flesh. Do any of you guys, so it's just Aja's turn. What do you want Aja to do?
Push buttons.
So she could spend her turn to activate the conveyor belt, but because you're now in a 0G environment, she could also just kind of float through.
Oh, that's actually good. Probably try to float through. What about you guys?
Yeah, she should float through and try and activate the transporter.
Okay. So as a bonus action, she is able to drift through the passageway that would have been a conveyor belt. Because she's just floating, she just is able to kind of soar through. And she finds herself in a small compartment behind the cargo bay. And there she knows this, but you guys don't. There's a bunch of transporter equipment that is depowered, and it's various components from more than one transporter mechanism. So it's going to take her probably 2 turns to power it up and operate it. Is that what you want her to get started on?
Yes.
I think we're in agreement.
Okay. So to power it up is going to be a daring plus engineering roll with a difficulty of 2, which for her is going to be, she's got a 15 target number, and you guys have 1 point of momentum. So does someone want to roll for her?
Sure, I'll roll for her. I'll spend that momentum.
Okay, so she's got 3 dice. Target number is 15, and it's a difficulty 2 roll.
9, 6, and natural 20.
Okay, so she gets the 2 successes that she needs, but there is a complication. What's a fun complication, guys?
Oh, the gate that was through the conveyor belt just suddenly slams shut. We now have to spend basically either 2 momentum to try to overcome this new obstacle that came in.
Man, thank God Miguel's here to figure this stuff out for me. Yeah, so as she fires up, as she starts to power up the transporter, the lights come on and it whirs to life, but it also powers up the door, the automatic door mechanism, and it slams shut with a metallic bang. And she goes, "Uh-oh." And so that is the second round of combat. We'll go to the third round. There's still 3 Orions in the cargo bay with you guys. And Aja is working on firing up the transporter, but the door is shut. Any of you can act.
This is the door between us and the transporter.
Yes.
Ah. Who's out here with the Orions? I'm guessing that's all of us except for Aja.
Yes. So Tasai and Dr. Ozil are on the far side of the room, and the doctor is carrying her. She's unconscious. And then Han and Captain Harriman are both in the middle zone, kind of in the very middle of the room. There's 1 Orion in the same zone as you, and then 2 Orions still in that first zone.
Hando's gonna use that batleth. He's gonna use that batleth to hook to one of those devices and use that to pull himself and propel himself towards one of the Orions. And his objective is to try to bump into him and then deliver a impact so that it's going to knock him back and hopefully try to knock the other guy too. It'll be a very difficult move.
Yeah, this will be. Okay, so here's how we'll do it. give me, so as you propel yourself toward the nearest Orion, we'll do an opposed daring plus security roll, and then any momentum that you generate, you can use to improve the quality of your success. So if you spend 1 point of momentum, you'll knock him back into the next zone. If you spend 2 points of momentum, then he collides with one of the other Orions. How about that?
Do we have any momentum currently?
You do not. So you will have to generate it on this roll, or you can pay me for that.
All right. Well, I'm just going to do a straight roll.
Okay.
All right. 10 and 19. So, yeah, only one success.
Okay. The Orion got 2. So as you propel yourself toward the nearest Orion, he actually maybe has some experience in zero-G environments, and he acts with almost shocking dexterity and reverses your attack and uses your momentum against you. So you slam into one of the floating pieces of equipment in this room. And so he is going to do some damage to you.
Yikes.
Just 3 CD. Which is 4 stress damage. So mark 4 points off your stress track.
Yikes. When we hit that, reverse gravity, we also took 5 points of damage, right?
Yes, but did you spent 2 points of momentum to not take the injury, right?
Yeah,
so you didn't take any stress damage on that.
Okay. So this time, how many stress damage did I get?
You just lost 4.
Okay.
Which is not enough to cause you an injury.
Okay.
Okay, do you guys want to keep the momentum or keep the initiative on your side by paying me threat? Or do you want one of the Orions to act?
Well, then I'm fine with them acting.
Okay.
Yep. I think we can't afford any more threat at this point.
Well, I've only got 1 point of threat, but you guys don't have any momentum.
Yes, and if you get 2 points of threat, you can actually have them avoid a harm.
This is true. Okay, so the Orion that is engaged with Commander Han in the center of the room is going to attack. He's going to make a physical attack, and I'm going to spend my point of momentum to gain an extra D20. And so, Yong, give me another daring plus security roll.
3 and 7, 2 successes.
Okay. Okay, so the Orion also got 2 successes, and because he is the aggressor in this situation, he successfully attacks you. As he grabs your head and slams it back into this piece of equipment that you collided with the first time, and he does 3 more points of damage to you, 3 more off your stress track.
Oof.
And the initiative goes back to you guys. I think Captain Harriman, Dr. Ozil, and Aja can both still act in this round.
Sorry, I was distracted by a dog there. Okay, who's on the wrong side of this door at the moment?
Everyone except Aja.
Okay, I'll see if I can kick off and make it to the door controls and try and open the door.
So just as a bonus action, you can move into the next zone.
Okay.
And so then it will require an action from you, probably difficulty 1. You can either use daring or control plus con as you start working the controls to reopen the door.
Daring or control. They're actually both the same, so it doesn't really matter. Okay. Plus con?
Yes, sir.
You sure about that?
I mean, it's like you're operating a computer console.
It's not my best stat. Okay.
I mean, engineering, I guess, could apply.
Yeah, that's even worse than con. I'll go with con.
Okay.
1 success.
Okay.
No, 2 successes, beg pardon.
Okay, so you generate a point of momentum, and the door swishes open.
Right, everybody out!
I will mark that you are now in the 3rd zone. As you join Dr. Ozil and Lieutenant Tasai. And
So
one
there's just the security chief left in the middle zone.
Yes.
Chief, move you back here.
One of
We're
the
leaving.
One of the Orions is going to sees what you're doing, sees that you open up the door, and he's going to try and fire at you from across the room. Oh my gosh.
Uh-oh.
No, good for you. I just rolled 1 success, and his disruptor shot deflects off of a piece of debris floating in the middle of the room.
Good.
Okay.
I've already got a concussion and a disruptor burn, so can't really afford anything else.
So I think it's what Dr. Ozil and Aja are the only 2 on your side left to act this round. Which one do you want to go?
Yes, I'll go. How am I going to get this door open?
The door is open. The captain just opened it, so you can use a bonus action to float through if you want.
Sure, I'll do that.
Okay, so you carrying Lieutenant Tasai, you're able to squeeze through the passage into the next room, and you see Aja working at a computer console to fire up the transporter. You still got your task. Is there any kind of task you would like to attempt?
Is there any way I can mess with the computers to spend like 2 momentum to gain like an advantage, like perhaps get it all foggy so that it's a lot harder for them to start shooting at us as we have a sort of cover generated?
So you've got 1 point of momentum. If you wanted to spend that plus pay me a threat, I would allow you to create that kind of advantage.
I was thinking of doing like a task action.
Yeah, so any kind of difficulty 2 task can create an advantage because that's the equivalent of spending 2 points of momentum. So I would say like you could use like so you go to one of the computer consoles and you want to like maybe overload some circuits so smoke starts to fill the
Yes, we're just going to have it set to maximum plasma because apparently everything is using plasma conduits with copper wire.
Yeah, yeah, this is not a well-built mining vessel. So this is you can use like, I'll let you use daring. You could also use maybe reason, and it's going to be an engineering discipline.
I'm going to pick daring because it's the lowest, but it's also more applicable. I'll spend that 1 momentum and let's roll.
All right. Difficulty 2.
Okay. 1 and 5 and 14.
Well done.
So 3 successes from the 1 and 5. So
yep. So you generate a point of momentum, and you start to overload some circuits, and so maybe some alarms start to sound, and smoke starts to fill the cargo bay, and that's going to make any ranged attacks jump from difficulty 2 to difficulty 3. And there's still one Orion. They realized their disruptors weren't working very well anyway, so he moves up into the middle zone, and he's going to try to attack Commander Han, who's already engaged with one of the Orions. So Commander Han, give me a daring plus security roll.
Ooh.
I got 1 success.
Only 1 success here too.
Okay, so the aggressor wins out, so he's going to do just 1 more point of stress damage, as because of the weightlessness and the smoke, he's not able to make really good contact with you.
Whew.
But you've now got 2. They're like, one of them is like upside down, one of them's right in your face. They're kind of like surrounding you in the middle of this cargo bay. Is there anyone else left to act in the 3rd round? Aja. What do you want Aja to do?
Has she got the transporters working yet?
She still needs 1 more task to make them operational.
Let's do that then.
Okay. Let me see what I wrote down for what that takes. Okay, control plus con with difficulty of 2, which for her is a 15. So someone can roll. You've got a point of momentum, and she's got a target number of 15.
Go ahead, Captain. You roll for her.
Oh boy, no pressure, huh? Let's spend the momentum because we need these things working.
Okay.
So 12, 8, and 15.
That is 3 successes, right?
Yep.
Yes, sir. Okay, so you generate a point. You get your point of momentum back. And the transporter pad that she's got kind of jury-rigged together lights up and starts glowing. And she kind of, she laughs, you know, like a triumphant laugh. And she says, "Everyone, get your asses over here." And that will bring us to the 4th round of combat. And any of you can act.
So Commander Han is surrounded by what, 2 Orions?
2 Orions,
3.
yes, sir.
Oh, I thought it was 3.
Nope, just 2. The 3rd one is still on the far side of the room.
And how far away is he?
Commander Han?
From me.
He's 1 zone away from you.
So he's in the next zone.
Commander Han is in the middle of 3 zones, and you're in the 3rd zone.
And I'm in 3rd, so yeah, he's in the next zone to me.
Yep.
Okay, I'm going to use my 0G melee combat. I'm going to launch myself off from the door and see if I can kind of tumble over in midair and do a sort of flying 2-foot kick at one of these Orions and actually kick him away from the chief.
Yeah, awesome. So that would be daring plus security, opposed by the Orion. You have 1 point of momentum, should you care to spend it.
I got a feeling I really ought to.
Okay.
Now, would this actually count as an assist?
I don't think so, because Yong's not attempting a task.
Okay. Just if you don't ask, you don't get. So.
Yep, fair enough. Got 1 success over here.
So 3 dice. What was it? Daring and
security.
Security. Okay, 14. Oops, that's not good. That's good. 18, 14, and 1. So that's going to be what, 3 successes?
Okay, that beats the Orion's 1 success. So you generate 2 points of momentum, and go ahead and roll damage as you do this expertly executed attack in 0 gravity.
Okay, so unarmed strike is 5.
And you can spend your momentum to get extra challenge dice on an attack.
I'm going to leave the momentum for the moment because I'm going more for effect than for damage.
Okay.
Where are we? So that's going to be 3, 4, 5 damage and 1 effect.
Okay, so the 5 damage will be enough to knock out one of the Orions. So there are just 2 left. Go ahead and narrate for me how that works out, Paul.
So yeah, what I was aiming to do was to launch myself off from the where the door is at one of the Orions that's in melee combat with the chief. Do a sort of tumble over in midair and hit this guy, hopefully center of mass with both feet, and give him a good thorough kick as I do. Hopefully launching him away from the chief and probably launching me somewhere back towards the door.
Yeah, I love that. So simultaneously, as you knock this Orion away from Han, you use that your momentum stops and actually goes back the opposite direction. So you're moving back towards the door. So you end up in the same zone you started out in. And the Orion that you hit starts kind of cartwheeling through midair back towards the first zone, and he's unconscious.
And as I float back towards the doorway, I'll just shout, "Chief, time to leave."
Awesome. Okay, one of the 2 Orions will now act, unless you guys want to spend your 2 points of momentum to keep the initiative.
Up to you guys.
Do we have 2 points of momentum?
You do. You have exactly 2.
Yep, we'll spend that.
Okay. Who wants to act?
Okay, Hando's gonna basically kick himself out of there. He's gonna kick against the nearby Orion to propel himself across the room and into the third room.
Into the third. You want to go into the third zone, or do you want to go all the way into the transporter room?
Well, where do we have to be in order to get transported?
To get out of there, you're going to have to get on the transporter pad in the transporter room. To get into that second zone, you'll have to use the sprint action.
Okay. Well, I'm just gonna move one zone. So he's gonna just simply kick the nearby Orion and use that to propel himself into the third room.
Okay. So if you want to kick him with the intention to do damage, is that right, Yong?
Yeah, he's gonna do damage and also try and propel himself.
Yeah. Okay. Give me a daring plus security roll that will be opposed by the Orion.
I got a question for you. I got like a few talents, but I really haven't been using them. I got mean right hook. I got something called bold security and collaboration security and resolute. I know I chose them for a reason while I was going through the character creation, but I forgot to write down any of the ways that it affects my roles.
Well, I think mean right hook might give you an extra challenge die on melee attacks. The other ones, maybe I can look up later for the next session, but I will look up mean right hook for you because I think it might apply here. Just give me one moment. Page 137.
It was still fresh in my mind for the first session, but during this session, I just don't remember clearly.
So your unarmed strike attack has the vicious 1 damage effect, which basically turns your effects into 2 points of damage rather than 1.
Okay. I gotcha.
So go ahead and give me that daring plus security roll.
All right.
And the Orion got 1 success.
Okay, I got 2, 5 and 15.
Okay, so you generate a point of momentum, and you can roll damage.
All right. 6.
And it will be 1 plus your security discipline.
Right, 2, 3, 5.
And in this case, your 5s and 6s will count as 2 points of stress.
Okay, so 7 points of damage.
Okay, so that will injure that Orion, leaving just 1 Orion left in the scene. And you propel yourself back towards that third zone, towards the door to the transporter room.
Nice. Little beads of blood trailing through his mouth. Hando propels himself.
As a parting gift, that 1 remaining Orion is going to try to fire at you through the smoke. This is going to be a difficulty 3 roll. I have no threat left, so I'm going to need to get a critical success to have a shot, and I don't get it. I just get 2 successes. So in the smoke and all the debris floating in the room, the disruptor fire doesn't even come close to you. Is there anyone else on your side that needs to act this round? Dr. Ozil, you haven't acted.
Yes, I think I need to get on the transporter pad, do I? So should get the casualty on there too, and just get ready.
Okay. Cool. So that brings us to the 4th round of combat, with the only 2 people left in that third zone are Captain Harriman and Commander Han. And there's one Orion left. How you guys want to make this play out?
We're in the third zone. We're not on the other side of the door, are we? Or are we?
No, but you can get on the other side of the door with a bonus action.
I'll grab the chief, shove him through the doorway, and then follow him and see if we can close the door after us.
Okay. So as a bonus action, sure, yeah, I think that's cool. The captain heroically, as your commander, as your security chief is drifting towards you, you kind of grab him and steer his momentum back towards that passage.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys are able to drift in together over the top of the conveyor belt. And it will be you can use daring or control plus con with a difficulty of 1 to close the door again. And you have a point of momentum.
Daring or control plus con. Okay. Yeah, we need to do this, so I'll spend the momentum.
Okay.
Where are we? Oh, 3 dice. 15. 2 successes.
Okay, you get your momentum back, and the door slams shut with a clang. And you see Aja, and she says, "Let's get the hell out of here."
Couldn't agree more.
So everyone drifts over to the transporter pad, and Aja keys in. So she scans for the location of the venture, and she keys in coordinates to beam out. And she does the transport. The transporter effect washes over you, and you guys rematerialize in a transporter room aboard the venture, safe and sound.
How's the doctor doing? Has he taken any damage?
No, don't worry, it's just a little bit of bruises and all that. So
Okay, because I think the chief and I need need some help.
yes, we're gonna get that going.
So yeah, Lieutenant Tasai needed some fairly serious work in sickbay. The rest of you, Dr. Ozil, you had a dislocated shoulder. Everyone else is basically just kind of some bumps and bruises, I think.
Before anything else happens, I'm going to get on the intercom to the bridge and tell them to raise shields. I want to make sure nobody else beams aboard while we're not looking.
You hear someone tell you, "We'll do our best, sir. We're having all kinds of technical difficulties."
Do we have impulse engines?
Yes, sir.
Okay, take us away from the station then. At least 500,000 kilometers.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Doc, have you got a nice warm bed for us now?
So Aja, the Orion woman, before you leave the transporter room, she overhears this conversation you have on the intercom about technical difficulties, and she says, Captain Harriman, do you trust me?"
Oh, you just saved our lives, so at least to some extent, yeah. Why? What is it?
She moves behind the console to the transporter and elbows the ensign out of the way who's been operating the transporter there, and she starts keying in some buttons. And she is able to power up the transporter on the venture, and you hear the transporter whine. And appearing on the transporter pad are several of the parts that you need to fix the ship, the thermionic feed coils.
Oh, good. Excellent. Thank you for that.
Yeah, I knew where we could find some. I was just bluffing when I told you it would take me a few hours.
Good. Chief, can you get one of your people down here to see our guest to some quarters?
Yes, Captain. And
then I think, I think you and I need to report to sickbay then.
Let's all go to sick.
So. We're gonna see you soon, Doctor. Oof. He groans, and he calls for other personnel to come down and escort them.
Yeah, cool. So we'll end the scene there. You guys are all able to receive whatever medical treatment that you need to get all of your stress back for the next scene. And the engineering crew is able to modify those thermionic field coils to become compatible with the Venture. And you guys are able to get out of there. So what happens next? You still got this Orion woman aboard your vessel. What happens to her?
So, Aja, you told us that you had a long story. It seems like we're out here. We're all ears. What exactly happened back there?
Yeah, I think
All right.
once we've had some medical treatment, or everybody that needs it has had it, we'll do a briefing room, and we'll see if we can get a story.
Yeah, I think that seems appropriate.
Emphasis on the part of why were the Orion shooting at us?
Well, I suppose I owe you some answers. You came to my aid, and I won't forget that. Aja is not my real name. That's just an alias. My real name belongs in the past. I don't even use it anymore. But I was hiding aboard the Crossroads. I was once one of the top assassins for the Orion Syndicate. I worked directly for one of the top-ranking syndicate bosses named Seema. But that life of killing, it got to me, and I decided I wanted out. But Seema told me I was too valuable, too good at what I did, and so she told me I couldn't leave. So I ran, and I hid, and I tried to build a new life for myself as an anonymous mechanic on this busy space station, this Crossroads. For a couple of years, working under this assumed name, I hadn't run into any kind of syndicate problems, but now it looks like they're hunting for me. You see, no one leaves the syndicate. It just isn't done. And so I worry that they're going to try to make an example of me.
Well, you did get us the parts for the field coils that we need. And it looks like your past has kind of caught up with you. So, is there anything we can do to help you?
Well,
since we didn't get the chance to give you any dilithium. And you probably don't need it now anyway.
No, I can't go back to the Crossroads, that's for sure. Well, Captain, I think the best thing you can do for me would be to either drop me off somewhere where I can build a new life for myself, an anonymous life, or I am a good mechanic, a damn fine mechanic. And I think I demonstrated that back there as well, that I can operate under pressure. And I have some other talents as well.
And what would those be, aside from killing people? We don't have a lot of need for that.
Well, fixing machinery and killing people, I guess, are my two main talents.
Well,
it's a tempting offer.
Well, Captain, I suppose the first thing is to get her real name. I could put it into the database and find out exactly who she is.
You could try, but...
Won't you tell us your real name, Aja?
She looks down for a second, like it's kind of painful for her to even say, and she says, Calavad. My real name is Calavad. But I haven't even spoken it aloud in over a year.
Well, Calavad, nice to meet you. I'm Hando Han.
Well, Commander Han, if it's just the same to you, I think I'd rather go by Aja.
Very well.
And I think, for the moment at least, the rest of your past should stay between the people in this room. It's not something we want to advertise to the rest of the crew or beyond the ship. But
I appreciate that, Captain.
I think if you're willing to stay with us for now, we could certainly put you to some use. First of all, by helping the engineering team fit those field coils. What do you think?
Yeah, that I can do.
And if somewhere along the way we happen to find somewhere that we can drop you off, we'll do that as well.
Yeah, maybe we should just take this one day at a time.
Mm-hmm.
I have a feeling that you're gonna stick with us for the next 5 years.
She smiles at you, but you can definitely see that there's some doubt in her eyes as well.
And we will, of course, need to discuss at some point boundaries. You are, after all, an Orion woman.
Of course, Captain. I would never dream of taking advantage of a sexually immature species.
Okay.
I think I'm just gonna run some diagnostics and the profile in the database, sir. And then he just leaves.
Well, when we break up the meeting, I'm going to go and find the security chief and just have a quiet word. Just say, look, chief, she helped us out, but she does freely admit that she is an ex-Orion assassin, which is not really the kind of person that we necessarily trust completely, wandering around the ship. So I'll leave it in your capable hands to be vigilant, shall I say?
Yes, sir. My concerns exactly, sir.
Well, you keep an eye on her, make sure she doesn't get up to any mischief, and report directly back to me.
He like face palms, and goes, "Yes, sir."
Oh, she could be useful, but on the other hand, she could be trouble.
Yes, and then all of this, and then being like, well then, I guess we need to get you an official uniform, just so you can blend in. So let's head over to the quartermaster.
She'll be just a regular crew member, not an officer, at least to begin with.
Okay, well, we'll let the quartermaster know about that.
She can have one of those funny orange or blue jumpsuits with the short sleeves.
Yeah, there we go. Perfect.
Yeah, so Hando like goes over to his own console and types in the name Caliban, and tries to pull up any information that he could get his hands on, and also tries to cross-reference it with Orion Syndicate, and does his best to pull up some names.
Yeah. So I would imagine, Commander Han, that you, as you're doing this, you're sitting in a computer console and you're drinking a cup of Dr. Ozil's famed blend of coffee. And as you start looking around for references from Starfleet intelligence or Federation security for this particular name, Calavad, you find something that actually causes you to spit your coffee out onto the console, because what you've learned is so shocking. And that is where we will end the session.
You hear him say, "Oh man, that was good, damn good coffee." What a waste.
What a waste of a console.
The console explodes.
Smoke and sparks everywhere. It is a Constitution-Class starship, after all.
Yes.
Cool.
Yes, they're not nicknamed the metal coffins for no reason.
Cool. Well, that is tonight's session. I'm going to end the broadcast by saying, computer, end program.
Thanks, Fred.